Hello guys, what's going on? I'm Craig and this is the Spirit of Vinyl. How you guys doing? Happy Friday. I'm gonna break open the beer. Weekend's finally over. I'm drinking one of these, Yuengling's Flight. And see, there's the low carbs and all that. Not enough alcohol content, but what are you gonna do? Out of the low carb beers that I've had, which is Michelob Ultra and the Corona Premiers and these Yuengling Flights, I think I prefer this one over all the other ones. It's a little bit better. I don't know. Ain't nothing like the IPAs I used to be able to drink. Um, Maybe once I cut some more weight, hopefully, sooner or later. Oh, hey, I hear an ice cream man behind me. Anyway, final episode of the Epic Dumpster Find. We finally come to episode 13, the last episode of everything that I found in that dumpster almost 5 years ago. In October, it'll be 5 years. It's about 4.5 years since I found these. So, I want to thank you all for sitting through all of these episodes. I really appreciate it. Got my notes right here. We're going to go ahead and just get started here. So, first off, this is Judas Priest, Sin After Sin. This is 1979 Japanese pressing. This album came out in 1977. Nice Obi on the side there. There's your track listing on the back. It's got Diamonds and Rust, which I love from that early stuff. Dissident Aggressors on here. Very cool stuff there. Here's the inner. There's your Japanese side. And there's your English side. And it is on Epic Records with the old school classic orange Epic on there, nice and shiny. This is a good album. Early stuff before they they sort of change here in a bit. So this is more of a Sound of Rock and Roll or Sad Wings of Destiny, actually. Okay, next up, this is the Best of Judas Priest. This is 1978 Japanese pressing. This is when this album, nice wide Obi on there. There's the back of it. This Obi will not slide, so I cannot show you everything that is on here. And when I found these records, this was the only Priest album that I already owned, and I have it hung up on the wall. Let's see here. It's right there. That copy that's hanging on the wall, I've had since I was 13 or 14 years old. And it's the only Priest album I ever owned. Not that I wasn't a fan, I just never bought their music. I spent my money on Iron Maiden and stuff like that when I was younger, but I was never really a huge fan of Priest. Of course, that has changed over the last 4.5 years because finding these records, and you will see this will continue on. Here's the inner. This is folded this way. I would assume it was probably that one side, and then we've got the Japanese there, and this is the English. We got Japanese on here, and then the English over here. This is how it was when I got it. In my head, it should probably be folded the other way, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that right now. So there we go. That's nice, cool inner sleeve with that. And so yeah, and this one's on Gull Records. This is a great album that I always enjoyed when I was younger. Had as a teenager. It's the greatest hits album of their first 3 records, essentially. And it's got Diamonds and Rust and the Ripper on it and stuff like that, which were always some of my favorite Priest stuff. I love The Ripper and Diamonds and Rust. I think they're great songs. So, all right, next up, more Priest. Stained Class, 1979 Japanese pressing. This album came out in 1978. There's the back cover there. There's your track listing. They're starting to get a little heavier when this album comes out. They start getting a little bit heavier and becoming more like the Priest that we know. We know now, the Priest that we know, as like I said, as the time went on. So, and there's your insert. The back side. This is all the Japanese side. You open this up here. There's your English lyrics there. There's the Japanese. They're very cool inserts on all these Japanese pressings, these Priest albums. Nice stuff right there. And we're back to the Orange Epic label. Shiny and new, as all of them were. So, oh man, having a hard time there. My hands don't want to work. Maybe this will help. Cheers to you all. Oh, excuse me. All right, next up. This is Killing Machine, also in the States known as Hellbent for Leather. I read on it, it's called Killing Machine, but the United States like, oh, you can't call it that, we got to call it something else, so they called it Hellbent for Leather. There's the back cover of that. And now we just start really getting into the Priests we know now. Delivering the Goods, Hellbent for Leather. And, well, I can't make the Obi move, so I can't tell you everything that's off of this. I'll look at it here. So here we go. Nice silver Obi. Very good, solid edges. Cool back cover. Halford with hair. I mean, he had hair in the 80s. I remember that. So like I said, that was from 78. Here's the insert for it there. Not quite as cool as the other ones, but still nice to have, of course. Helps with value. Not that I care about value. Having all the Obis and inserts really helps with the value, but I don't care about value. I'm not selling any of these. So, once again, that Orange Epic label. Once again, shiny and new. Okay, next up. This came with this is British Steel, and this is a 1980 US pressing. And it's got a little crease right there. See, it's got a little crease, not, but overall still in great shape. Here's the back cover of that. What can be said about this other than, I mean, it's a great classic album for sure. And now we're, like I said, we're in the U.S. now. We're on Columbia Records. Still, besides that little crease on there, still in excellent condition. So, and let's see, one more Priest album that was found in there, and that is Point of Entry. Heading on the highways on here. That's the big hit off of here for sure. And there's your back cover there. And this is a 1981 US pressing. This has got the inner sleeve with it, which is, pictures of the other albums there. And there's your lyrics on the back. And let's see here. And this is also on the red Columbia label right there. Very nice. So, yeah, that's all the Priest that was found that day. And like I said, before that, I only owned the best of. So that definitely grew my Priest collection and my appreciation for the band. Not that I wasn't a fan. I've always been a fan of the band, but like I said, I never bought their music. But, you know, in the 80s, I mean, I was a Maiden fan. You know, it was like, oh, you Priest or Maiden or whatever. And I was always Maiden. But I had friends who were Priest fans, so we heard all the music and everything. So it's not like I had to go out and buy it because my friend was buying all the Priest stuff and I'm buying the Maiden stuff. And we're listening to each other's music and we're seeing him live in concert and everything else. So, I mean, but I just never owned it myself besides that best of. So then I found all of those and now I've went back and I've gotten Rockarola and Sad Wings of Destiny, and I've bought everything after that, you know, Turbo and Ram It Down and Painkiller and stuff like that. It's kind of where I stop is with Painkiller. I don't know if I should continue going or not. I also have the 50th anniversary greatest hits thing, double LP, so you know. So, but you know, Painkiller was from like 1990, and that's kind of where I fall off on a lot of those bands because the 90s happened and my musical styles changed. So that's all. That's all it is. So, all right, next up, Motorhead's Bomber. This is a 1980 Japanese pressing, originally released in 1979. There's the back cover right there. Um, Filthy and Lemmy, and I want to say probably Fast Eddie Clark. I can't get the Obi to move. And as for Motorhead, I never owned any Motorhead. This is the first Motorhead album I've ever owned. When this was found in there, it's got some cool tunes on it. Deadman Tono Tales is a song that I knew. I've never been a huge Motorhead fan, but you know, I get what they are and I appreciate what they've done and you know, Lemmy and all that. So, but it was never anything that I was really into or bought. But this is really cool to have, and I really do enjoy this record a lot. And like I said, that was a 1988 Japanese pressing. There's the insert right there, and there's the back side there. There's the English side. So, but yeah, it's a very cool record. And, you know, that Japanese is sweet. And this is on the bronze label, which I always kind of think is cool looking. I love the look of the bronze label with the guy walking around and everything else. So, so yeah, that's really cool to have. And next up, also, this one right here, Motorhead's Ace of Spades, 1981 Japanese press, originally released in 1980. There's the back of that, and there's your track listing right there. This is a kick-ass record also. They're both great albums. Like I said, I never really got into them a whole lot. And but these two are both great. But I don't, for myself and my own taste, I don't see myself buying any more Motorhead. There's the insert right there, and it's fourfold. So very nice, very nice, and is also on the bronze label. Like you know, I don't know. I know it doesn't really show up on camera well, but believe me when I say all these are really good, shiny, minty shape. Play excellent. So, but yeah, those two are great records, and that's probably all I'll ever. You know, I'm not out looking for other Motorheads. So, but all new stuff to me when I found it. So, and this one's really cool. This one's called Motor School. And this is a 1981 Japanese press. And what this is Motorhead and Girl School got together and did this like EP. So there you go. Motorhead and Girl School on that. And then Bomber, Girl School does Bomber. And then Emergency is Motorhead and Denise from Girl School. And then it's got Bomber from Motorhead, Emergency from Girl School, and Yeah Right by Girl School. So they kind of put it together. So there's the picture on the inside, and it's not really a picture disc. What it is, let me pull this out, is a 12-inch with a giant label on it. And then on the back side, it's got Motorhead and Girl School, and you flip it that way, and there's a picture of Girl School. So this is really cool. Really cool and hard to find. Um, and yeah, it's got the insert in there. Let me get that out here in just a second. So I put that back in. Yeah, I'd never heard of this before, but when I saw it, I'm like, this is pretty rare and pretty cool. There's the insert right there. It's blank on the other side. So there you go. Pictures of both bands. And Girls School was a great band. So it's very cool to have. I really enjoy that. Play it every once in a while. It's just great stuff all together. So, all right, next up. This is Praying Mantis. Tell No Lies. That's what it's called. Yeah, Praying Mantis, Tell No Lies. And I did not know this band at all when I found this, but I was keeping it because of the cover, if anything else, because it's so awesome looking. And I've played it a few times, and this is very cool stuff, honestly. Kind of a new wave of British heavy metal. Very cool sound. None of the names of the band mean anything to me, and I have no idea how many albums this band had or how long they were around or anything else, but very cool. And that was the 1981 Japanese press. There's the insert for that. There's a picture of the band playing live down there. You can't really see a whole lot of it, but very cool. And there's the back of it right there. And let's see here. This is on Arista Records. But yeah, this is a good spin. I really enjoy it. I've enjoyed it when I played it, and you know, cover art. When I first found those, one of the first things I did is just start flipping through them all and just pulling out everything I knew I was going to keep right away. Then I started flipping through again and looking at things, and you know, something like that cover right there. You know, I was keeping it no matter what. And then I looked them up and listened to it and everything else, and great stuff. All right, next up, this is Samson's Head On, 1980 Japanese press. And this is another one. Story about this. This is Bruce Dickinson's first band before he was in Iron Maiden. I did not know that when I found this. I kept this record because of this front cover. And I was just like, this is awesome looking. I have no idea what this is going to sound like. Obviously, they're a metal band, you know, and I'm looking at it here, and you can't really tell in the pictures. And it says Paul Sant. Okay, so yeah, look how it's listed. Bruce is lead vocal. So looking at the back, I had no idea. Then I played it, and I'm like, that sounds like Bruce Dickinson. And sure enough, it was. And, you know, I may have known that in the past, but it wasn't something that stuck me in the middle of my head when I saw it that, hey, that's Bruce Dickinson's first band. I did not know that. There's your insert right there. Very cool stuff. Yeah, it's a cool album. Cool early 80s new wave of British heavy metal style album. RCA, sort of an orangish yellow looking label there. Very cool stuff. Glad to have it. It's a great record to listen to. I really enjoy it. And like I said, when I first played it, I had no idea. You know, I'm just like, I kept it because of the cover. So, and next up is Sinner's Danger Zone. This is a 1984 German press. Probably says... if it's 84, it's probably going to say made in West Germany somewhere on there. There's the back cover right there. And I really know nothing about this band either. I want to say that they are a German band, if I remember correctly. I remember looking them up at one time, but I played this. This is very cool. You know, and it's got that same sound. Cool cover, once again. Very awesome. So there's the inner right there, the picture of the band. The back is blank. It's only got lyrics for 4 songs. There are more than 4 songs on the album, and it's on It says Noise Records on there. There's the label right there. So very cool. There's the back of that there. But yeah, I've spun that a couple times. It's got a very cool sound. It's sort of that new wave of British heavy metal sound, although they are not British. If I remember correctly, they are not British. So, but yeah, that's a cool album to have too. I really, really enjoy that. Bands I'd never heard of, Sinner, Praying Mantis, Samson. Those are bands that I had no idea. That I had never heard of until I found them. And I'm glad that they were there, and I really do enjoy them. And that's everything, guys. Finally, after 13 episodes, that's all of us. So I got some final numbers here. Basically, I have 146 total that I still have. Last year, sometime, I did a purge, and I used that purge money to buy myself a new record player, stuff like that. I got rid of some other stuff that had came. I got rid of a few things that I had bought or whatever, but a lot of that purge was stuff from this dumpster. So I probably kept around 200 of them. And like I said, I have 146 total right now that I still have. I got rid of around 50 probably, so it was close to 200 that I originally kept and that I had until last year when I purged some of them, out of a total of about 400 altogether that I had found that day. So that kind of lets you know of the breadth of this collection that I found. If those are the 146 that I've kept that I still have after 4.5 years, out of the 400, like I said, I originally took a bunch to the record store, traded them in, bought and sold off of the rest, selling on eBay and Facebook Marketplace and stuff. And I didn't have to buy records with my own money for like a year. So with store credit from the record store and everything else. And this story, last weekend was Father's Day. I got a gift from my wife's cousin and her husband. They just gave me a gift card to the record store. They said they went down there to buy it, and they were like, oh yeah, they talking to the guy who's working down there. Oh, this is for Craig. You know Craig, and he's like, yeah, I know Craig. He found all those records in the dumpster that one time a few years back. So I mean, it's a big thing, But yeah, so I've really appreciated you guys watching and everything else. Some of the ones that I got rid of, I may want to kick myself in the ass for, because I saw one sell the other day on CollectCo for like $400, and I sold it for like $200, which I felt was good at the time. It was a OG Music for Nations press of Metallica's Ride the Lightning. I sold it for $200 because I already had a copy of Ride the Lightning. And I was like, well, if I sell it and I can get $200 for it, I will buy a lot more records with $200 than if I keep this original press of Ride the Lightning. So I sold it. And now I looked at it. I saw it sell on CollectCo a couple of days ago, and it went for way more than $200. So I should have kept it. But if I still had it, I'd probably never sell it. So anyway, I want to thank you all for sitting through all this. Next week, I'll be back to whatever the hell I'm going to do. I really appreciate you all watching and sitting through this series. I'm glad you've all enjoyed it and really listened to me talk about this thing, And ultimately, the reason I'm talking to you right now is because I found those records. Because I found those, and basically at the point in time, I probably had less than 100 records. So I basically tripled my record collection in one day. And then I was talking about how great this was, and all my friends and family were getting sick of me talking about it. So I came on YouTube to talk to you guys about it instead. So ultimately, that's why I'm here, and that's what boosted me as a record collector. I was buying records, but I was not a huge collector. But finding all those and seeing that and seeing how well he was taking care of them and everything else really inspired me. So part of why I'm doing this now is to show those records that I found and what it helped me to do. And that was the idea why I called it the spirit of vinyl, because when I found those records, I felt like part of Mike's spirit was moving on into me and forming in with my records and so on. So the spirit of the collection continues on. And by you guys watching it, it helps the spirit to continue on. It helps Mike's, whose collection this was beforehand, Rest in peace, Mike. I wish I would have known you, but I almost feel like I kind of do know him because of what I found. I know, his musical taste, and I can kind of tell when you look that he had Japanese records until about 81, and then he had German records until about 84, and then he's got US pressings, and then the collection kind of stops at about 86 or 87. So it makes me wonder, he was in the military. He was in Japan for a while. He was in Germany for a while. He was in the US for a while. You can kind of tell his life by where those records were and the time frame. If you look at a lot of them and the dates and stuff, a lot of the Japanese stuff was that late 70s and early 80s. And then by the early to mid 80s, he's in Germany and he's in Europe because I've got Holland pressings and German pressings and stuff like that. So it kind of shows his life as he moved through however old he was at the time. So his collection tells a story also. And I'm glad I could share it with you, and I'm glad you guys all enjoyed watching it. So, all right, enough rambling. Thank you all. Cheers to you all. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you all next weekend.